Hello students. In our last video, we discussed about design stress strain curve of concrete under uniaxial compression. In this video, we will discuss about design stress strain curve of steel under uniaxial tension. There are certain prerequisite concepts and those are partial safety factors, concept of stress and strain, features of stress strain curve of mild and taut steel under uniaxial tension. This you must have done in your laboratory course under strength of materials. And then engineering and true stress and strain. Let us talk about low carbon steel, which is also popularly known as mild steel or medium tensile strength steel. A typical stress strain curve of low carbon steel would look like this. There are certain segments, certain regions of this stress strain curve. And what are those regions? The first one is where stress is directly proportional to strain up to proportionality limit. That is called as linear elastic portion. Then just above the proportionality limit, you will have upper yield point somewhere here. From proportionality limit to upper yield point, you will have non-linear but elastic stress strain behavior. For low carbon steel, you will have definite yield point, which is denoted by a drop in stress, and this is the lower yield point. So this is the region where the yielding commences. Then you have a plateau where the stress fairly remains constant with increasing strain. Then you have strain hardening region and then strain softening region. And ultimately the failure occurs by necking. So these are typical characteristics of stress strain curve of low carbon steel. Now, there are certain characteristics which can be derived from this stress strain curve. For example, if you look at the slope of stress strain curve of low carbon steel within proportionality limit, then that turns out to be the modulus of elasticity of steel, and that value is 200 GPa. That is 200 gigapascals. So the first important mechanical property of steel that we observe from its stress strain curve under uniaxial tension is its modulus of elasticity in linear elastic zone, and that is called as Young's modulus, and its value is 200 GPa. The second characteristics that we are interested in is what is the ultimate strain at which steel bar breaks into two pieces. Pardon me. For mild steel of grade 1 and grade 2, this value turns out to be 23%. Whereas for medium tensile steel, this value turns out to be 20%. This table is taken from IS 432 part 1, 1982. So what it means is the ultimate strain at which the mild steel or medium tensile steel is going to fail will be in the range of 0.2 to 0.23. Now on this linear portion of stress strain curve, I have shown Young's modulus graphically. So the slope of this line will be delta y upon delta x. If I freeze delta x to be 1, delta y will be E itself, or it is Young's modulus of steel under uniaxial tension. That value is 200 GPa. So for mild steel, which is denoted by Fe250, we have two important characteristics. One is its modulus of elasticity is 200 GPa in linear elastic zone, and its ultimate strain is 0.23. Now what is this designation Fe250? Fe stands for iron and 250 stands for characteristic yield strength. Characteristic yield stress. So the characteristic yield strength or characteristic yield stress of low carbon steel that we are going to use commonly is going to be 250 MPa. Now this is the typical stress strain curve of cold twisted deformed steel, that is TOR steel. This steel has serrations on its surface. This steel does not exhibit a definite yield point, as you can see. and therefore 0.2% proof stress is regarded as yield stress of the steel. So what is 0.2% proof stress? So on strain axis, if you consider the strain value of 0.2%, that is 0.002, and draw a line parallel to initial tangent to the stress strain curve, wherever this line intersects the stress strain curve, that stress we are going to call it as yield stress or 0.2% proof stress. Now, cold twisted deformed steel generally has characteristic yield strength of 415 and 500 MPa. So we designate it by grades Fe 415 and Fe 500. Now let us look at some chemical composition of cold twisted deformed steel. So there are two grades, as you can see, Fe 415, Fe 500, and there is one more, Fe 600. So as the grade of this steel increases, you will see the carbon percentage goes on increasing, and ultimate strain goes on decreasing. So you can have a look at, for Fe 415 the ultimate strain is 14.5, whereas for Fe 600 the ultimate strain is 10%. This is significantly lower than the ultimate strain capacity of Fe 250, that is mild steel. This data is taken from IS 1786 2008. So what are the important properties of cold twisted deformed steel, also abbreviated as TOR steel? Its E, that is modulus of elasticity, is going to be 200 GPa, just like mild steel, but its ultimate strain is going to be in the range of 0.1 to 0.18, depending upon the grade of steel, Fe 415 to Fe 600. So now let us try to develop design stress strain curve for mild steel. So this is the engineering stress strain curve that is obtained in the laboratory for mild steel. We idealized it by elastoplastic idealization, and the idealized engineering stress strain curve of mild steel looks something like this. Sorry, we ignore the details of upper yield to lower yield transformation, then the plateau, and then the strain hardening part and strain softening part. So what we do is we idealize the stress strain curve by flat line, and this is called as elastoplastic idealization of stress strain curve of mild steel. Its yield strength is given by, or yield stress is given by notation Fy. Now, to obtain design stress strain curve, we will have to divide it by partial safety factor for material. The question that we are going to ask ourselves is whether we should divide only stress values by partial safety factors, or stress as well as strain values by partial safety factor for strength. So if you recall, in concrete, we have divided only stress values by partial safety factor for strength. So if we repeat that procedure, that means if we divide only stress values by partial safety factor for material, we are going to obtain this stress strain curve, which is marked in black. But then it does not fit the experimental observation that in linear zone, the steel exhibits fixed value of modulus of elasticity, and that is 200 GPa. Because the moment we divide only stress values by partial safety factor for material strength, then the slope of this line, which is marked in black line, will not be equal to 200 GPa. So therefore, to obtain design stress strain curve of mild steel, we divide both stresses as well as strains by partial safety factor for strength, and then we obtain a design stress strain curve. The value of yield stress, design yield stress, will be characteristic yield stress Fy divided by partial safety factor for strength of steel, that is 1.15 as per IS 456-2000. So the design stress strain curve of mild steel looks something like this. Obviously, its yield strain is going to be Fy upon 1.15 ES. Mind you, on x-axis we are plotting strain and on y-axis we are plotting stress. I have not explicitly shown or mentioned that, but traditionally we plot strain on x-axis and stress on y-axis. So the yield strain, design yield strain for mild steel is going to be Fy upon 1.15 times E, where E is 200 GPa and Fy can be 250 MPa. You need to carefully observe that the ultimate strain is also divided by partial safety factor for material, and therefore the ultimate strain for these two curves is greater than the ultimate strain for design stress strain curve. Now let us look at design stress strain curve for torch steel. For torch steel, the experimentally obtained engineering stress strain curve looks something like that. It doesn't have a definite yield point. So therefore, what we do is at the strain value of 0.002, we draw a line parallel to initial tangent drawn to the stress strain curve. Wherever this line intersects the stress strain curve, that stress we regard it as yield stress or 0.2% proof stress. Idealized engineering stress strain curve would be in elastoplastic in nature, and it will look something like this. We divide stresses as well as strains by partial safety factor for strength of steel, and we get design stress strain curve. Now, on design stress strain curve, as I can see, this blue dot represents the value of yield strain. So let us try and estimate this value of yield strain. So look at this triangle formed by black dotted line, this red dotted line, and these two blue dots. So if we apply the definition of slope, for example, this line, this black dotted line is parallel to the initial tangent drawn to this stress strain curve. So it is going to have this slope of 200 GPa. So this black line has the slope of 200 GPa, which is equal to modulus of elasticity of steel. The slope of this line can be given by delta y upon delta x. Delta y is the distance shown by this dotted red line, whereas delta x is the distance between these two blue dots. The distance shown by this dotted red line, we know it is Fy upon 1.15. Therefore, slope of this line will be this Fy upon 1.15 divided by the distance between two blue dots. So therefore, distance between the two blue dots will be Fy upon 1.15 E, because the slope of this line is E. So what is the value of strain corresponding to the yield stress on design yield stress? The value of design yield strain therefore will be 0.002 plus Fy upon 1.15 times E. So we observe two things here. Design yield stress for torch steel is going to be Fy upon 1.15, whereas design yield strain is going to be 0.002 plus Fy upon 1.15 times E of steel. So let us summarize. For mild steel, design yield stress is going to be Fy upon 1.15 and design yield strain is going to be Fy upon 1.15 times E. Whereas for torch steel, design yield stress is going to be equal to Fy upon 1.15 and design yield strain is going to be equal to 0.002 plus Fy upon 1.15 times E. So let us stop here today. In the next class, now we will discuss something about under reinforced, over reinforced and balanced sections in context of reinforced concrete design.